Today I have another Halloween tutorial for you, and this one is inspired by Disney witches, and I absolutely love Disney and I love their villains. And usually in Disney they look like a sinister old lady before they turn into some hideous witch, so that's what I've created for you. This is my model Charley, and to start with we're going to use FX wax to block out the outer 2/3 of Charley's eyebrows. To do this, I'm using a spatula and I'm dragging the wax down in the direction of the hair growth, and I'm smoothing out the wax, removing any excess from the skin. If you don't have FX wax, you can use Elmer's glue or a Pritt stick, just make sure it's anything non-toxic. To seal that in place and make sure we can work over the top of it without removing the wax, we're going to seal it. And the one I'm using is by Kryolan, and I'm using a spatula to apply this. My tip with this product is to work quickly. I'm using Supracolor foundation by Kryolan, and I'm mixing 2 shades together to get the desired skin tone. I'm going ever so slightly darker than Charley's natural skin. I came up with this look as I went along. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to create a beggar woman appearance to the witch. I didn't want it to look like a green witch or one with prosthetics, etc., which I will do in the future, by the way. But this look, I still wanted it to look human, and I wanted it to be very characterised so it looked like a Disney witch before she turns into a creepy, hideous, gruesome witch. So I hope that gives you an idea of the thought process behind this look. So I've buffed that in over the face and neck using my Real Techniques buffing brush, and then on a concealer brush I'm taking that underneath the eyes and I'm taking that very close to the lash line, and this is just going to neutralise that area. Then I'm going to pat more of that foundation over the top of the eyelid and then onto the brow that we've waxed out and sealed. To cover up the brow hair, we're going to do this in layers, so we're going to pat the foundation on first, and then we're going to use some powder to seal it. I'm using the Kryolan translucent powder on a cotton pad and I'm pressing that in. And then we're going to go back in with the foundation and apply another layer of it, and then powder again. Now you can see we're just left with the front of Charley's brows. I'm now taking an angled lip brush because it's nice and fine, and I'm taking some brown eyeshadow and I'm mapping in some frown lines and where the beginning of the brow is going to start. The reason for blocking out Charley's eyebrows is so that we can create some false ones, and what we're going to do is draw a line from Charley's natural brow and follow it straight up at a high angle and then arch the brow round. Now we've got a rough guide for the eyebrows, we're going to create some frown lines underneath them so it makes it look like the beggar woman is frowning slightly. This will also help to age Charley's youthful face. Next I'm mapping in some heavy bags under Charley's eyes. You want to follow the natural lines of the eye but emphasise that outer corner and make it droopy looking. Then we're going to add in some crow's feet, which are the small lines where the eyes crease at the corners. This part's optional. I decided just to add a little bit of nose putty to the bridge of Charley's nose to make it more witchy. So this will either be like a wart or to make the bridge of the nose look a bit more hooked. I added a small amount of mastic glue to the bridge of Charley's nose and waited for it to go tacky, and then I took a pea-sized amount of nose putty and then I pressed that into place, and then I just used my spatula to smooth the seams into the natural skin. You definitely need a little bit of patience with this, and you need to keep your fingers cool because your natural heat from your fingers will warm the putty up. So I just roll my finger over it backwards and forwards just to make a little bit more of a smooth barrel shape to the putty, and then again just go over with my spatula to remove any excess. And then I took my Paw and Honey Balm by Savannah Organic and just used that to blend this over the top of the putty. You can just use Vaseline, it makes no difference. And then you want to work in circular motions backwards and forwards to remove any bumps or imperfections to make it look more like it's a part of the skin. So when Charley moves her head to the side, you can see she's got more of a witchy nose. To seal that so we can apply makeup over the top, we're using the same sealant from earlier. If you use a brush, make sure it's an old one because you will ruin your bristles. I would use a cotton bud if you don't have a spare brush. For the next part of this look, we're using these 2 pencils, and these are cream Kajal pencils from Kryolan, and I've got it in the shade brown and highlight. The highlight shade is like a cream colour. I'm starting off by using the brown one, and I'm drawing lines onto the forehead, and these are going to be our theatrical wrinkle/frown lines. Notice that I've put 2 lines above where the fake eyebrows are going to be, and this is going to give us that really raised appearance to the brows. And this is also going to enhance that stern appearance to the face. I'm using a pencil brush to work over those lines, and this is going to soften them, making them appear more like a shadow rather than a drawn on line. This is going to be what we call the foundation of our line. This is the beginning part. Next we're going in with our highlight pencil, and we're placing that in between the brown lines. This is going to pull those areas forward, creating a more ripply appearance to the forehead, making it look more like wrinkles and aged lines. Taking another clean pencil brush, I'm going over these lines to soften them a little bit more. I don't want to blend them out too much because they are a highlight. Again, this is a theatrical look, so we want it to be prominent. Next, I'm taking an intense dark matte brown eyeshadow, and on my fine angled lip brush, I'm applying that to the very base of those brown lines that we applied. You'll see this is really going to create some depth to those lines. The colour I'm using for this is Mystery by MAC, but you can use any matte dark brown eyeshadow. Taking my fine angled lip brush and a matte black eyeshadow, I'm going to place in the eyebrows. I'm pulling up from the bottom in flicking motions, and this is going to create hairlines. We're going to keep the base of the eyebrows very clean, so we're going to follow that nice curve from the base of the brow up to the arch and then round. And then to fill in the brow, we're going to carry on with the flicking motion to emulate the hairlines all the way up the eyebrow. At the base of the brow, you want to pull the hairs directly up, and then as you go over the top of the brow, the hairs need to go round in a curved shape following the direction of the eyebrow. Next, I took a fine paintbrush and Bobbi Brown gel liner in ink black, and I wanted to create more of a bushy brow. So again, I went in flicking over the hairlines that I've already made, but dragging them a little bit further up, and this created a more wispy appearance to the brow. Going back in with that cream pencil, I highlighted underneath the arch of the eyebrow and then just softened that with a concealer brush. So next I'm enhancing underneath the eyes, so I'm going back in over those frown lines and blending them. I've dipped my pencil brush into Mystery by MAC, which is the intense dark brown eyeshadow, and I'm running that underneath the bushiest part of the eyebrow and then also on the inner corner, which is just on either side of the bridge of the nose. Next I'm creating a heavy hooded eyelid. Most Disney characters' eyes are very big, so by shading underneath the bushy part of the brow, we've given the appearance that the eyelid on the inner corner is a lot larger than it really is. Then once in line with the pupil, I've curved down in a bow shape towards the outer corner of the eye, and this has created a hooded appearance to the eyelid. Then I'm using my pencil brush just to blend on the inside of that line, and this is creating a shadow appearance, making the eye look more sunken. To really intensify that line and make it look like a heavy crease, I've mixed a little bit of the dark brown and black together, and I've gone over that line again and then just softened it with the brush. On the eyelid that we've created, I'm placing a bone colour eyeshadow, and this one is by Louise Young. Just above the nose patty, I'm creating some creases. From the inner corner of the eye, I'm pulling them up towards the bridge of the nose. And then I'm using one small brush to blend them slightly, and then I'm using another brush to add a little bit of highlight to the middle of them, and this is going to create that ripple effect again, making them look more realistic. Going back to the hood of the eye, we want to make that area look a little bit more curved, so I'm taking a warm brown by MAC, this one's called Saddle, and I'm applying that to the outer side of the crease that we've created, and this is going to give us a more folded appearance. Most Disney characters have a dark line along their lash line, and this is to emphasise the lashes. So I did the same on Charley. I'm taking the liner from the outer corner and about 2/3 of the way across the lash line. Don't take it all the way across or you'll lose some of the space of your eyelid. While the liner was drying, I set the highlighter that we placed underneath the arch of the brow with the bone colour eyeshadow. Then I went back in with the gel liner and created a flick at the outer corners, and this created a more puffy appearance to the fold of the eyelid. On that angled lip brush, I've taken some of the brown eyeshadow and I've gone around the shape of the wart that we've put on using the nose putty. And the reason for this is so that front on, you can see the shape of it and the bridge of the nose is no longer straight, it's much more crooked and witchy to look at. As witches often have large noses, there's a lot of shadow around their nostril area, and as Charley's got quite a petite nose, we're going to enhance that by applying eyeshadow around the nose and onto the nostril area, and then we're also going to drag a little bit of colour down her smile lines, and this is really going to change the appearance of her nose. To the surface of the wart, I'm applying a little bit of that bone colour eyeshadow, and this is going to make it look more raised. Going back to the crow's feet of the eyes, I've enhanced them again with a bit more of the brown, and then in between I'm highlighting like we've done with the rest of the face, and then I'm just softening them with a brush. And now I'm going to concentrate on the droopy part of the eye. This is going to be the bag. On the outer side of the bag, I'm drawing on small little wrinkles, and then using my pencil brush I'm just softening around the circumference of the bag, and this is going to create a little bit of shadow, making the inner part look more puffy. I'm dragging some of that brown eyeshadow from the inner corner of the eye following the natural socket line, and then also under the bottom eyelid. And then I'm taking a light Supracolor foundation and I'm adding some highlight to that V section and the bag that we've created. And this is just going to make that portion of the eye look a little bit puffier. Now that both eyes are done, we're just enhancing those socket lines with a bit more brown. Now I'm enhancing the lower half of the face around the nose and the smile lines. Using that matte brown colour, I'm creating a lot of shadow around and underneath the nostril area, and I'm pulling that down onto the smile line. This is really going to make Charley look older. To add some dimension to the face, we're adding a little bit of saddle, which is the warm brown, down the sides of the nose. And then to make the top of the nose more bulbous, we're going to drag those lines in from the top of the nostrils and just shade them a little bit more, and this is just going to create a completely different shape to Charley's natural nose. Nearly all witch characters have puckered mouths, so we're going to create tiny lines using the fine liner brush and some brown eyeshadow, and we're going to drag that up from the top lip toward the nostrils and then underneath the nostrils down towards the lip. In between those lines you want to add a little bit of highlighter, and again this is really just going to enhance those areas, making the lips look genuinely puckered and old and aged. To make the tip of the nose look more round, we add a little bit of highlight to the very end. Now I want to change the shape of Charley's youthful cheeks and make them look a little bit more old and drawn in. I'm using brown Supracolor foundation for this. I'm following Charley's natural cheekbone and then swooping down towards the jaw, and this is going to run parallel to the extended smile lines we've taken down by the side of the mouth. And I'm just using a small fluffy blending brush just to soften that and make it look more like a shadow. I prefer to use the foundation than the Kajal pencil because the foundation is a bit softer and a bit creamier, so it will blend nicer, so we'll get more of a shadow. Now we've got the contour in, we want to highlight the little V section that I'm doing now, and this is just going to make that skin look a little bit more prominent and give the face more definition. And this is a great way to show you how highlighting and contouring can really change the face shape. I'm dusting a small amount of the matte brown eyeshadow underneath Charley's bottom lip, and then we're going to round that off just to make the top of the chin look more rounded. I'm also taking that all the way underneath the lower lip and rounding off the bottom of the chin too. And I'm adding a small amount of brown just to the edge of the chin on either side, and this is just going to create a bit more shape. I'm taking Bone Beige by MAC and applying this just above the line that we've created down the cheekbone, and this is just going to add a bit more of a curve to Charley's cheeks. Mimicking the top lip with the lines, we're going to do the same with the bottom lip, but we're going to just do this on the outer edge of either side. As Charley's fair, I'm using a small amount of mascara just to darken her top lashes. I'm using this one by Ico. The lipstick I'm using is by Grimace and the colour is 5.21, and this one is a maroony purple sort of shade. All Disney characters tend to have colour on their lips, and usually the evil ones tend to have a deep kind of red or purpley shade, so this is why I went for this colour. I was very lucky to be sponsored by divaswigs.com, and they sent me a 24-inch purple mixed wavy synthetic wig, and it comes beautifully packaged. So this is the wig, and as you can see it's so long I can't actually fit it all on camera. This is the type of wig that's been made to look like it starts right from your hairline. It's been crocheted onto a tiny net, and I can really appreciate the time it takes to make these type of wigs because I actually did wig making at college. So as you can see, the colour mix of this wig is absolutely beautiful. It's got a vibrant purple running through it, and it gives off the most beautiful shine. Now divaswigs.com have given me a discount code, and I will put it in the description bar of the video if you're interested in buying a wig yourself. So I attached the wig to Charley, and I also put a little bit of Supracolor through the front of the wig to give it a bit of a grey appearance, and that is the look complete. I would like to thank Charley for being my model, and I'd like to wish you all a magical Halloween. If you missed my previous 2 Halloween uploads this month, then you can click on either of these 2 and it will take you to those. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.